X-Men Blackbird Jet team build coming right up. Mr. Clicksflix is brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama, home of the ROC. No matter if you're in the United States or around the world, Lucky Dice Cafe has the winning role for all your gaming needs. You can visit them at luckydicecafe.com or on their Facebook page using the link found in the description of this video. Alright guys, so like I said in this intro, we are going to be talking about meta team possibilities for the Blackbird Jet Con exclusive. It officially came out for the US at Origins. I was lucky to get one, and so we're going to take a look at what I think might be a possible team build. I'm not sure about it. Seems a little squishy to me, but let's go ahead and flip this over and we'll take a look at it. Alright guys, so here we are at HC Realms again. We are taking a look at this Blackbird Heroclix team. Pretty excited about it. I don't know how it's going to do, but I'm excited to experiment with it. I'm running it at 120 points. I feel like at 100 points and at 55 points, it's going to get one-shotted by a Unimind if I'm not careful. This one at least gives me 2 shots at it. You know, he's got to take 2 turns to KO it, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. I don't know how much we're going to see Unimind. I feel like we haven't seen him a lot, but you know, it's nice to know that there's a figure out there that can deal, you know, 12 clicks of damage all by itself, or 14 clicks if it, you know, spaces them right. So that's why I'm just trying to, you know, hedge my bets against that kind of thing. But there are those other point values if you guys want to experiment with them. On its own, the Blackbird Jet has a 0 range, single target, 14 movement with stealth, 0 attack, 18 defense with invulnerability, 0 damage with perplex, new mutants and X-Men keywords. Has 3 traits. The first one is called pilot ability, reconnaissance transport, prerequisite X-Men keyword, adjacent friendly characters modify range +2, so that's good. We're going to see later on we're going to have a lot of ranged figures on this team. Then there's so fast doesn't show up on radar, modify Blackbird's defense +1 if it moved during your last turn. So we have a good chance at a 19 for defense. Then there's relax, I've survived more jet crashes than any mutant or human alive. When Blackbird is KO'd, wrecked, and a character with the X-Men keyword is the pilot, do not roll a d6. After resolution, modify that character's combat values +1 until your next turn. If that character is also named Cyclops, heal him 1 click and modify his combat values an additional +1. Protected pulse wave. Okay, so what we're seeing here is that we do get some bonuses. We get a +2 to our range if you're adjacent to it and have the X-Men keyword, so that's good. We get a +1 to our defense if we moved our last turn. Then whoever piloted it, if it wrecks, gets +1 to all their stats, or if it's Cyclops, they get +2 to all their stats. So really good there. To me, that really pushes that Cyclops is the guy to pilot this thing. So we're picking Cyclops for a couple different reasons, but we're picking the number 52 super rare one from X-Men Xavier School. Only 50 points, has X-Men keyword. He's going to give the Blackbird an 8 range, still with the single target. He has an 8 movement himself with running shot, an 11 attack with precision strike, a 17 defense with willpower, and a 3 damage. So like I was saying, he's going to give the Blackbird Jet, when he pilots it, an 8 range, 11 attack, and 3 damage with precision strike, which is pretty good. And then he has some other stuff himself. He has leadership, he has that conditional perplex for only X-Men keyworded figures, and he brings you a free student ID card. Now when we're running this Blackbird Jet, we are using the resource dial with it. The resource dial is not available here on HC Realms to select for your team, so don't pay attention to what my team build total says over there. That doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but you get a bonus to your roll for moving the resource dial along if they are student ID cards. So that's why I have a few headmasters on this. And then if he does pop across the board, if it's more than halfway, he gets Psychic Blast, gets a free attack. So just a really good figure to have, really solid on his team. The next one we're going to talk about is Moira McTaggart, and there's actually 3 of them on this team. And she's on here for basically her 3 student ID cards She brings 3 leadership roles, 3 perplexes, and then if you push all of them to their second click, it gives you 3 outwits. And then since this is an X-Men theme team, you have your full quiver of theme team probs, which you could easily assign to a Moira McTaggart and not feel bad because she's not going to be doing anything for you after that. And she's going to be solid for a lot of things like that. Again, the free student ID cards are just going to be where it's at. And then the next thing I have for this team is going to be a X-Student at 25 points so that I can select the TK version. This was the cheapest TK that I could find with the X-Men keyword. If you guys know of a cheaper one that's modern age, let me know in the comments below. I'd be interested in knowing who it is and playing it. But so this is going to be my guy. When the X-Jet acts as a call-in battery, call somebody in. And then I have the X-Student to TK him out a little bit so that they can pulse wave or do whatever it is they need to do without necessarily having running shot, or just to get them where it is they need to be. So I really like him. I think he's going to be helpful to the team. I wish I could have spent that 25 points on another Moira McTaggart, but I needed the TK bad, so he's on the team. Now, on this team, I am paying for 2 faculty ID cards. So the first one is the Wolverine ID card, and with this I would run the 50-point Wolverine from X-Men Xavier School. This is probably one of the ones I was a little wishy-washy about, and it just depends on your playstyle. If I wasn't going to run this Wolverine ID card, I would run the Professor X ID card with the Brood Professor X. Because this is really set up as a range team, so that might be a better choice overall. But depending on your playstyle, or if you really put a lot of value on that heal 1 click, this could be your guy. Then the other thing I have is the Storm ID card. She's on here to call in this lady, the LE Storm, at 150 points, 8 range, single target, running shot, pulse wave, 17 defense, 4 damage. She's going to be one of your end game figures that you're able to bring in late in the game. I think a late game 11 attack, 4 damage pulse waver is going to be a big deal for you. And then we're going to move on to the student ID cards. The first one I picked up was Chamber, and so let's go ahead and look at what he does here. So he's 70 points to call in, so he can be called in with the Blackbird. Has a 6 range single target, but if he's adjacent to the Blackbird, it would be a 8 range. Has a 8 movement with Force Blast, 11 attack, Psychic Blast, 17 defense with Toughness, and 3 damage with Enhancement. And then he also has a trait which gives him poison, and when he uses it, it's penetrating damage to opposing characters with less points. So that's really cool. I really think he's going to be helpful. That enhancement, depending on who you already have it on the board, might be helpful in addition to all those perplexes. So you figure with your 1, 2, 3, 4 perplexes, you could get him up to easily a 13 attack for 5 damage from just the call-in, which is crazy. That'd be fantastic. So he's on here. Now the other ID cards that we're going to be using come with the Blackbird Jet. So they're not here on HC Realms yet, but we're going to talk about the figures that we're going to call in. So the first ID card that's a student that would use is going to be Jean Grey. We're using the Chase one from X-Men Xavier School at 90 points, I would suggest. That 11 is just a lot more enticing than the 10, and we are already going to have a few figures at that like 50-ish point range, to where you don't want to clog it up where all your figures are 50 points. So she has a 8 range, which is going to be a 10 with the Blackbird Jet, 10 movement with running shot, 11 attack with a special, 18 defense with willpower, 3 damage with outwit. Her special is penetrating psychic blast, TK normal or is free. If Jean Grey uses TK is free, range value becomes 3, and the replace 6 with 3 for the text of the power. So she's pretty good there. I'm just using her for the running shot, psychic blast, and the outwit. And then you figure I have all those perplexes. So again, we can get her up to 13 attack for 5 damage with an outwit fairly easily. So, you know, we're going to put her on there. And again, depending on, you know, if you get the resource dial, you know, click going, and you have it to where, you know, you can call her in and just leave her in, that would be awesome. A lot of these, you know, you don't really want to turn and burn a lot of these. For this one, you want to just sort of move the jet around, you know, rack up the point value of the figure that you can bring in, and then just start bringing them in with power actions so that they can stay in the game, and then just support them with Moira McTaggart and the Blackbird Jet, and then hopefully, you know, you never have to really do too much with your Blackbird Jet offensively, although you could. But that would be my last ditch effort. I wouldn't just charge in with a Blackbird Jet. The next ID card that's a student ID card that I would use would be Cyclops, and again, I would use the number 52 experienced version of Cyclops from X-Men Xavier School. 50 points, 8 range single target, which would be again a 10 with the Blackbird Jet, 8 movement with running shot, 11 attack with precision strike, 17 defense with willpower, 3 damage. And then if you're, you know, and then he brings you your perplex, your leadership, and he also has sort of a retaliatory attack thing, and then he has sidestep, and if he's closer to the opponent's starting area than his own, he has penetrating psychic blast. Otherwise, he has energy shield deflection. So really good there, just a solid call in. Excited to have him. And then the last one is going to be the Iceman student ID card that comes with this Blackbird Jet. Now it's up to you if you want to run them at 175 or I believe 65 or 60 is the lower point value. That's going to be a personal preference to you, what you want to do. But you're going to bring them in, you're going to get the ice clones. Again, if these guys take any damage at all, they're getting KO'd. So the fact that, you know, at 175 he has 9 clicks and at, you know, 60 he has 4 clicks doesn't really matter. It's all, you know, once he takes 1 damage, then he's done. But the running shot pulse wave will give him a little bit of mobility. And at 175 he has 7 range, dual target, 9 movement with running shot, 11 attack, pulse wave, 18 defense, impervious, 4 damage with nothing on it. Plus he has the Jean Grey, the Survivor of the Age of Apocalypse trait, gets the ice clones. Just overall a really solid figure that's going to be helpful for a ton of teams. So that's all I have really for plans for this style of team. It's still in the really early infant phases of me planning how I'm going to use this, but I think it's a smart idea. It's not, there aren't as many call-ins that are going to be good like it was with the Quinjet, because, you know, you had the Ultron drones that counted as 100 points and could just call things in, whereas the Blackbird Jet, we're really relying on the jet to be the call-in battery. So we're going to run into some problems there, but I'm hoping that the Moira McTaggarts are going to keep enough action tokens off that it's not that big of a deal, and we're going to be able to get the proverbial ball rolling with the call-ins and whatnot, and just be able to keep them in the game. And then at that point it's very swarmy, you know, you figure late game, even if your opponent takes all those out and you've been dealing damage with them, you know, then they have, you know, hopefully a full dial Blackbird Jet to deal with, and that's going to be really difficult to whittle that down, because its attack and damage values are going to stay the same for the entire dial until Cyclops pops out, at which point he's going to be a hoss. So you guys let me know what you think of this team in the comments below. I'd be interested in seeing your ideas for a Blackbird Jet team build. If you're new to the channel and you want to continue to perplex up your Heroclix IQ and outwit the competition, make sure to Hulk smash that subscribe button and also the little bell notification so that you're sure to not miss anything. That's all I have for you guys today. As always, please remember that it's only critical miss if you don't have probability control.